Okay, so today I want to show you how to make this clay rose. And what I'm using is this Arteza oven baked clay. You can use the air dry, but the oven bake's a little easier to use. I like it a lot better. I'm gonna use this purple for like the actual rose part of it, and then I'm gonna use the green for the leaves. But so we're gonna start off, and usually I use the Sculpey brand for clay, but the Arteza was really good as well. The Sculpey is a little bit easier to work with sometimes, and starts off softer. You're gonna want to start off with kneading your clay and just like getting it soft enough to where it's malleable and you can easily work with it. The first step is you want to get kind of a small piece. That's relatively small. You'll want to get about a piece about this size. You're going to want to turn it into this like elongated oval. And then you're going to take one side that you want to be the very center of your rose right here. That's the swirl. And you're going to pinch it a little bit more just to make it a little bit more thin, but you don't want to make it too thin or else it's going to end up cracking and it just won't look as good at the end. And then you're going to roll it up in the center, from the center, kind of just like rolling up a cinnamon roll or something like that. And then you're going to close it. It'll look like that. If you want to, you can take the edges and pull it out a little bit more just to give it a little bit more depth and make it look more like a petal. But so that's how you're going to start it out with. And that's just the very center. And then after that, you're going to take another piece, about the same-ish size. You're going to turn it into like a teardrop type shape. And then you're going to flatten it out. And the tip of the teardrop is going to go onto the bottom right here. It's just going to attach everything. And then the top of the teardrop, the flat part's going to go around the petal. I might have made this piece too big. But what you want to do is you want to start it about right here. And you want it to cover maybe about half. That's pretty good, yeah. You want it to cover about half of your original inside. And then just like the others, maybe pull it out a little bit, make it look a little bit more like a petal instead of just like right on top of each other. And then you're going to take about a similar same size piece, and you're just going to do the same teardrop over and over again. And then you're going to, as you keep going though, you're going to want to increase the size of your teardrop that you do, just so that you get a wider. And then as you're getting along, I'll show you later, but as you're getting along with like these bigger pieces right here, you're going to want to put them to where about half of the petal part is sticking out, to where you can fold it out, and then it'll look more like a petal. But you want to keep it about as close as you can, the petals, as you're overlapping them, or else it's going to end up making it really tall, and it's not really going to look like a rose as much. But same for this that I did with the last one. You're going to want to slightly overlap each petal like this. See where this one ended. I'm going to put this one on here. And then same with that. I'm just going to pull it out a little bit. And you're just going to repeat that over and over again, slightly making the petals just a little bit bigger. I might have made this one a little too big. But you're going to make the petals just a little bit bigger. And if you make them too big, it's okay. You can pinch pieces off, or you can attach it to another piece, just whatever, and then as you keep going. as you do bigger petals, you won't want it to be too big to where it's like it was in the beginning with the first two petals, where it was one covered half and the other covered half. You want to do them to where it's a little bit more proportionate. Like with here, after I got the first two, the next I did it to where it was about 3 that kind of overlapped each other, and it just made it look a little bit better and just wider and more full. So you want to do that. And then as I'm going, as you see the bottom part right here, this might be getting a little too thick. So what you'll want to do is you can just twist off parts of the bottom. You still want to leave enough to where you can like hold the bottom part, but I usually, like, as I'm going, I'll twist off the excess so that I have enough and can work really well with it, work with the rest of it. This is the moment where you're going to want to start doing about half of the petal. See right here, I attached it about right there. And then started to like flare it out a little bit, but still keeping it as close to these petals as possible so it's not raised up too much in the end. You're just going to start pulling on a little bit more. And if you feel like you attach it too much, you can easily pull on the flame and manipulate it to where it's where you want it and it looks the best for the way you want it to look. I think this is going to be my last petal. I kind of ran out of clay, but you can make these however big you want, depending on how much clay you want or how much clay you have. I think it's fun just to like keep going and going and going with it, because then you come out with this beautiful, massive rose that can be any color that you want it to be. I know the first one that I did of these roses was it was like this glittery type of copper color, which was not realistic at all, but it was such a pretty color. I really just wanted to use it, and it turned out beautiful, and it was so much fun to do either way. And it's something that you make by yourself, so it kind of just, anytime you see it, it kind of just makes you feel a little accomplished. But so after that, then what you're going to want to do for the leaf is you're going to want to take your green or whatever color you are using for your leaf, and you're going to want to knead it a little bit. I did it earlier, but it's kind of hardened again. You're going to want to knead it, and then what we're going to be doing is literally the same teardrop shape that we were doing for the petals, except for you're just going to put it on technically backwards, to where the part that you make into the petal is going to actually be attached to the stem. And then the tip is what is going to be showing, because then obviously that makes the tip of the flower. And so for this, you also want to make it a little thicker, just because it looks a little better. And also, if you get these leaves too thin, they break really easily. I had that happen to my first one. It was barely even touched, and it was moved. And it was no one's fault, but it was moved, and one of the leaves broke off. And it was really sad, but I mean, it's fine. It's something you can glue back on. But you'd want it to be thick enough to where it won't come off easily. And what I like to do for the veins of the leaf, I don't know if you can see that. For the veins of the leaf right here, what I like to do is I'll use a tool. Usually I like using this tool better because it's a little sharper, and you can lay it down on the leaf and make a nice indent, a thinner indent. But if you don't have those, these plastic ones still work really well. After you make the shape of the leaf that you want, and it's however smooth you want it to be or whatever, then what you'll do, I'll show you with both. I'll show you with this first. what you'll do is you'll just take this part right here and you'll sort of carve along and just make an imprint. It kind of just looks really cool. It gives it more depth and more realism, even though we're not necessarily going for realism. I'm sure a lot of people made some really pretty flowers with some very random colors that are not normal flower colors, but hey, it's your flower. It doesn't really matter. So for this is just, I like this tool a lot better because it comes out with these cleaner, thinner lines that look a little bit more like a leaf. But again, we're not necessarily going for realism here. We're just having some fun. And you're just gonna, along the edge, just make it look like any other leaf, honestly. If you want to get really fancy with this, most rose leaves, like the leaves that are on a rose, actually are jagged on the edge. And you can just like take off pieces or cut on them with scissors and just make it look a little bit more jagged. This isn't necessarily the best representation of a leaf, but I'm just gonna attach it here. And usually I like to do two. This is also a really big one, but so you can just attach it there wherever you want it to, however you want it to look. And then it'll pop out from the side. You can even manipulate it to move a different way to where it looks like it's at an angle or whatever you want. And then here, I'm gonna make another one and show you with this. With the thicker tool, you're gonna do a similar thing, except for since it's more blunt on the edge of the tool, you can literally just trace with the edge of the tool right here. And then that'll make the shape that you want or the carving that you want. So I'm gonna make this leaf a little smaller and take some of this off. Oh, that was too much. But I'll usually do 2 different sizes of leaves just because it makes it look a little bit better, and I don't know. Sometimes it just ends up being that way too. So again, just making that same teardrop shape. This color does not want to be manipulated as much as the purple did. This is a little bit harder, but with this, it's the same exact thing, but right here with the more blunt tool, you're just gonna trace the center, and it'll come out with a thicker line on it too. This one has some dry clay on it, so it'll come out with some white. You can do it like that. You can imprint it. Go down here. It's a little wider on the end, so I can imprint it here, and then it'll make it a little bit wider of a vein in the leaf. And then same here, you're just gonna imprint, drag. You can do any. I just don't. This tool is rather thick too, so it's a little harder to make the veins of the flowers look as good as the other one, but this is how it's turning out. It's not that bad. I like it. And then just attach it anywhere. You can attach it on the other side. I kind of like that. Or you can attach it right here next to it or whatever. I think I'm going to attach it here. But yeah, so I mean, that's it. And then when you bake it, what you want to do is you want to preheat your oven to about 275, and you'll bake it for 15 minutes per 1/4 inch of thickness. So you'll want to eyeball it depending on how big your flower is and just how thick you made your leaves and stuff like this. This one's going to be a little bit longer just because of the amount of clay that there is. But also if you did a white one, what you can do afterwards, after you bake it, you can paint on it with acrylic paint. I haven't tried watercolor, but that might work as well if you just want to keep it white or whatever. But yep, that's how you make a clay rose and keep it or whatever you want. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you have a great rest of your school year and a great summer. Bye.